Chris Eubank Jr. to fight Canelo Alvarez. Let's get into this one. Hello, welcome to On Me Heads. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, Chris Eubank Jr. has been in the news once again. He's just signed with boxer Ben Shalom, and now there's a bit of confusion because all of a sudden, not really sure whether he's going to fight Canelo Alvarez or indeed was he ever going to do that. Now, reports are coming out that Chris Eubank Jr. is saying, look, I've got the pick of the fights. I've got Canelo. I could have Conor Benn, Terence Crawford. He's just picking names out of the hat. You know, picking names out of the hat is one thing. Calling out names is one thing. But actually stepping into the ring is something completely different. So this thing with him and Canelo Alvarez, this came out a couple of weeks ago where Canelo Alvarez's team kind of said, no, we're in discussions with Chris Eubank Jr. This is all before the boxer announcement was made. And this is all to fight Canelo Alvarez in September in Las Vegas, I believe. They're trying to find somebody to, well, put a bum on a seat, pretty much. Now, we're not calling Chris Eubank Jr. a bum, but you know what I mean? It's just a name to fill the roster, as it were, to fill the card. It doesn't seem as if Canelo Alvarez is picking the best fighter out there, the most challenging fighter. No, he's hand-picking his opponents so that he can just keep on ticking over those wins, getting those unanimous decisions, let's say, improving his record, and then he just keeps on fighting, almost like easy fights. I'm not saying terribly easy fights, but they're not exactly really hard fights. Now we know the hardest fight for Canelo Alvarez is Benavidez, of course. Everybody wants to watch that. Everybody wants it, can't wait for it. But it's likely never going to happen, especially with Canelo Alvarez calling the shots, and especially who he wants to pick. Now, obviously, this is bolstered up Chris Eubank Jr.'s credentials, let's say, or his reputation. Oh, yeah, you know, I can get him in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. But how realistic is this going to happen? And how do we rate his chances? Well, I've got to say, well, not that much, really. I mean, even though I think Canelo Alvarez is past his best, way past his best, Chris Eubank Jr. isn't a spring chicken anymore. He's 34 years old, he's had 36 fights, and he's 33-3. So a decent, no doubt record, but he hasn't actually always fought right at the top level. He kind of went off on tangents too many times, and he hasn't been active enough for me in the last few years. So he last fought last September against Liam Smith, who he beat. That was the return fight, the rematch, as it were, when Liam Smith knocked him out, and that was in January. He basically only had 2 fights last year. 1 loss, 1 win. In 2022, he only fought once. In 2021, he fought twice. 2020, he didn't fight at all, but then that maybe have something to do with the COVID era as well. 2019, he fought twice, and 2018 twice. I mean, he's basically been looking at 2 fights a year. Now, for me, he needed to be doing a lot more than that, and certainly in the last few years, he needed to be fighting a lot more. I know there was the big fight with Conor Benn, which obviously was cancelled because of the Conor Benn situation, of course. But I'm not sure that Chris Eubank Jr. has the right quality and the right record to get into the ring with Canelo Alvarez. It doesn't seem to be the right challenge for either fighter. I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. will stick a chance against Canelo Alvarez. I don't think it's a big enough challenge for him. I think Chris Eubank Jr. needs to be looking at maybe a domestic fight and maybe another Liam Smith type fight. That will get the juices flowing. That will get the British boxing fans really up for this fight. And now that he's signed with Boxer, maybe that's the way it's going to go. Maybe he still wants to have his title shot. Maybe he still wants to get into the ring with Canelo Alvarez. But maybe that's unlikely to happen. Now, it could be that there's an issue with broadcasters, that, you know, the whole politics thing with boxing. You know, he signed up with Boxer. He knows who he's signing up with. It's not as if this is all alien to him. So there's got to be something going on behind the scenes. Or maybe there's some kind of clause in the contract to say, no, he can have this Canelo Alvarez fight and still be with Sky or continue with Sky and Boxer thereafter. So whilst he's signed for boxing, we don't know if this is a media or whether it can be deferred until after the potential Canelo Alvarez fight. But anyway, the drama with Chris Eubank Jr. always seems to continue, always seems to roll on. Let us know your thoughts. Is he good enough to take on Canelo Alvarez? And what's Canelo Alvarez playing at? Shouldn't he really been fighting Benavidez? And really, shouldn't Chris Eubank Jr. be sticking it on somebody back on home shore? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for all future videos, and I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.